EasyJet is a British airline headquartered in London with a fleet of 187 aircraft. It carries more passengers than any other United Kingdom airline, operating domestic and international scheduled services on 500 routes between 118 European, North African, and West Asian airports. The airline is owned by Sir Stelios Haji Ioannou, a Greek Cypriot national who was knighted by Queen Elizabeth. The Stelios name was involved with a 1991 oil tanker disaster that resulted in the death of 5 Europeans and the disgorging of up to 50,000 tons of crude oil into the Mediterranean Sea. On a flight from Athens to London, this passenger, Jan Marat, recorded and posted to YouTube a real-time aerosols release from EasyJet, a low-cost passenger airline. It has long been suspected that discount airlines can only afford to sell cheap tickets when the owners sign secret government contracts to spray toxins over the populations and into the cabin of other aircraft that fly near where the aerosols have been sprayed. This documentation of aerosol releases by passenger aircraft significantly raises the probability that the takeoff and landing fuel supplies are normal JP4, but that a secondary aerosol fuel supply is switched on at cruise altitude. Also, the altitude of these toxic releases is nowhere near high enough to qualify as stratospheric aerosol geoengineering. Investigator Cliff Carnicom has long established that aerosols at lower altitudes actually trap heat to force atmospheric warming. Investigators need to ask if these aerosols are a deliberate attempt at forcing anthropomorphic global warming, or AGW, through a covert campaign of aerosol releases misrepresented by plausible deniability as geoengineering aerosols to mitigate so-called global warming.